On the riverbank, Gabriel stands, Zara tightly in his arms. The water surges, creeping closer to where he stands, its roar growing louder with every passing second. His heart beats in his chest, heavy with fear. He grips Zara, pulling her close. His eyes remain locked on the churning water, his body tense, waiting. The storm is no longer a distant threat. It has arrived, and with it, the danger he has been trying to avoid. The water swells, as if it recognizes him, calling him by name. He feels it deep in his bones, the pull of something greater than himself. The storm presses in, but Gabriel remains unmoving, his gaze unyielding. Zara's voice rises from the storm's noise, soft yet full of power. "It is calling for us, Father," she whispers, her words hanging in the air like a warning. Her eyes, wide and filled with something Gabriel cannot understand, do not meet his. She stares at the water, as if she knows something he does not. His chest tightens. He wants to ask, to demand what she means, but her tone is enough. The urgency in her voice, the fear, speaks louder than words. The river stirs, its water swelling and churning. The very earth beneath Gabriel's feet trembles. He feels the pull of the water, as if it is alive, a force beyond his control. The river is not just water. It is a creature of power, ancient and unyielding. It calls to him, beckoning him into its depths, urging him to face it, to confront what he has tried to outrun for so long. A mighty crash of thunder splits the sky, shaking the ground beneath them. The air vibrates with the force of the sound. The river surges, rising higher, pushing against the land as if to claim what it believes is its own. Gabriel holds Zara tighter, his breath coming faster. The storm has not only arrived, it is here to stay, and it will not be satisfied until it has taken what it desires. The water continues to rise, roaring louder and louder. Gabriel's heart races. The river is not just angry, it is relentless. It has come for something, and he knows it has come for Zara. The sound of the water crashing against the land fills his ears, the rhythm of it matching the pounding of his heart. His mind races. He knows what is coming. The river is not a force to be ignored. It will take, it will consume, and it will not stop. He must act. There is no more time. Gabriel pulls Zara closer, feeling the weight of the moment press against him. The decision he faces is impossible. He can run, turn away, and protect her from the immediate danger. But what will that mean for them in the end? Will the river follow? Will it claim them both if they flee? No, he cannot. The only choice is to face it, to face the river, to face his past. He steps forward, his feet sinking slightly into the soft earth as he moves closer to the water. His heart pounds, but his resolve hardens. He will not allow the river to claim Zara, not today. The river roars, its waters reaching for him, pushing forward with unstoppable force. The earth shakes beneath him, the wind howling in protest. Gabriel's muscles strain, but his steps do not falter. His breath is steady, his mind sharp. He will dive into the river if he must, but he will not let it claim his daughter. The storm intensifies, the thunder crashing down like a warning. There is no turning back now, and then the final shock. The storm reaches its peak, one last thunderous roar splitting the night. Gabriel dives into the churning water, Zara still held tightly in his arms. The current pulls at him with terrifying force, dragging him deeper, but he fights against it, his grip tightening around his daughter. The river pulls at him, its power threatening to tear them both apart. He struggles, his breath coming in, ragged gasps, but he does not let go. He will not. The river may be powerful, but it will not break him, not today, not now. The weight of Gabriel's past bears down on him like an unyielding stone. The death of his first child still haunts him, and every moment with Zara feels like both a blessing and a curse. He holds her close, knowing she is the answer to his pain, but doubts whisper in his mind. The fear that history might repeat itself claws at his heart. He is determined to protect Zara from the same fate, yet he cannot shake the feeling that the past is always just behind him, waiting to catch up. Zara, though still young, speaks in ways that unsettle Gabriel. She knows things no one has taught her, and sometimes it feels as though the air around her hums with a strange energy. She speaks of visions, of whispers from far away, and Gabriel is left wondering if her powers are something to be feared or embraced. He watches her, uncertain, but deep in his heart, he believes that her gifts are tied to his redemption. If he can help her understand her powers, maybe, just maybe, he can undo the damage done by his past. Celeste watches them both from the shadows. Her beauty is as cold as the river itself, hiding a dark secret beneath her calm exterior. She is distant, her eyes calculating, measuring every action, every word. The villagers speak of her in hushed tones, their suspicion growing as they watch her interactions with Gabriel and Zara. There are rumors that Celeste has ties to the river, that she walks its banks under the moonlight, her footsteps guiding the spirits. But Gabriel, lost in his own struggles, chooses not to see what is clear to others. His need for a second chance blinds him to the signs. The river watches them all. Silent and relentless, its waters flow steadily, judging their every move. Gabriel feels its presence in the air, heavy and oppressive. The river is not just a body of water. It is a living, breathing force. He knows it is tied to his fate, to Zara's. It has been watching them long before they understood its power. But Gabriel cannot understand how the river plays a role in their lives, or what it wants from them. The villagers, bound by ancient superstitions, grow fearful. They speak of the river as if it were a living beast, one that takes what it is owed and demands payment. When Zara arrived, their fears deepened. They whispered that she was the river's instrument, sent to claim another soul. Gabriel can feel their eyes on them, the weight of their judgment heavy on his shoulders. They are afraid of Zara, afraid of the strange powers she holds. Their fear is not something easily ignored. It presses on him, threatening to crush his resolve. He must protect her, but the village's whispers grow louder, their suspicion like a storm on the horizon. Gabriel tries to move forward, to leave the painful memories of his first child's death behind, but the weight of the village's superstitions pulls him back, and Zara's strange powers bring him face to face with the past he hoped to forget. He is caught between hope and fear. Zara could be the key to his redemption, but what if the curse that followed him is stronger than the bond they share? What if history is destined to repeat itself, no matter how hard he fights to change it? As the days pass, Gabriel begins to realize that Zara's powers are growing. The river's grip on her is tightening, and it feels as though the storm he once feared is now upon them. He has tried to protect her, to shield her from the village's suspicions and the growing power of the river, but his efforts are met with resistance. The villagers whisper louder, their fears turning into anger, and Celeste, once distant, now watches Gabriel with an unsettling intensity. She too seems to be caught between fear and something darker, something that Gabriel cannot yet understand. The weight of his decisions grows heavier. Gabriel must face the truth. He cannot protect Zara from everything. The river's power is growing stronger, and the village is on edge. He is being pushed toward a decision he is not ready to make. The past has not released him, and the future seems uncertain. But Gabriel knows that he cannot turn back. Whatever comes next, he must face it, for Zara and for himself. The bond between father and daughter grows stronger with each passing day, but so do Gabriel's doubts. Zara, in her innocence, has become both his salvation and his greatest fear. He holds her close, the weight of his past pressing down on him. "You're all I have left," he whispers, his voice tight. "But what if this curse is mine to carry?" His words hang in the air, heavy with a fear that he cannot shake. The connection between them is undeniable, yet he cannot ignore the dread that gnaws at his heart, wondering if Zara is destined to follow the same tragic path as his first child. Celeste, once calm and composed, begins to act strangely. Her cold presence shifts. She withdraws more and more into herself. She no longer speaks with warmth, her eyes distant and her movements erratic. The villagers start to notice, their whispers growing louder. "She walks by the river at night," one murmurs, her eyes filled with something darker than the storm. There's talk of the spirits, of powers unknown, and of Celeste's connection to them. But Gabriel is too deep in his own turmoil to see what others see. His focus remains solely on Zara, his protection of her consuming all his thoughts. As Celeste's behavior grows more unsettling, the villagers' unease grows with it. The once welcoming faces now turn away when she passes, their glances filled with suspicion. They start to avoid her, murmuring to each other, wondering if she's tied to the river's dark forces. But Gabriel, blinded by his need for redemption, continues to defend her. His instincts push him to protect her, yet even his closest friends begin to question his loyalty. "Why do you defend her?" one asks. "Doesn't her silence scream of guilt?" Gabriel stiffens, torn between the fear of the unknown and the love for his wife. He cannot see the truth as others do, blinded by his own desperation. Zara's powers continue to grow, manifesting in strange ways that Gabriel cannot understand. She speaks of things no one could have taught her, of secrets only the river could know. Her visions come more often now, and her voice trembles as she shares them with her father. "The river calls me, Father," she says, her eyes distant. "It speaks of a great storm coming for us all." Gabriel listens, his heart pounding in his chest. What is happening to his daughter? Is she a blessing, or is she a curse sent to finish the work the river began? The fear of what she might become overwhelms him, but his love for her keeps him anchored, even as doubt clouds his every thought. Gabriel wrestles with himself, torn between the guilt of his past and the need to protect Zara. His fears become sharper with each passing day. He questions whether his own fear of Zara's powers is blinding him to what is truly at stake. "If I let you go," he whispers, his voice cracking with emotion, "will you drown in the river's wrath like the others?" The words sting as they leave his mouth, but they are a truth he cannot ignore. His heart aches, but the fear of repeating his past mistakes holds him back. He does not want to lose Zara, but he is afraid of what her powers might bring. The river's power grows, pulsing with a force that is impossible to ignore. Gabriel can feel it, an ever-present force that watches them from the shadows. The water calls to him, to Zara, and he knows that its grip is tightening. The tension in the air thickens, heavy with the anticipation of what is to come. Gabriel can feel the river's eyes upon them, and its presence fills him with dread. The air vibrates with the force of its power, and he knows that the river will not wait much longer to claim what it desires. An elder of the village, wise and knowing, speaks to Gabriel, warning him of the danger they face. The elder's voice is grave, the weight of centuries of knowledge in every word. Zara's connection to the river is not an accident, the elder says. She is part of a prophecy. The river will either be destroyed or it will claim her. Gabriel listens, his heart heavy. The elder's words are clear. Zara is at the center of something far greater than either of them understands. The river has claimed before, and it will claim again unless Gabriel makes a choice that will change everything. The choice Gabriel must make is impossible. He knows that if he tries to break the river's hold on Zara, he risks everything. But if he allows the river to take her, he will lose her forever, and the consequences will be far more than he can bear. His mind spins with the weight of the decision. Fear, love, and guilt clash within him, pulling him in every direction. "How can I choose between you and the river?" he asks, his voice barely a whisper. "I cannot lose you, Zara." His heart aches with the knowledge that whatever decision he makes will change the course of their lives. There is no turning back now. Say, storm rages, a furious howl filling the air as the river swells higher than it ever has before. The earth trembles beneath the force of its power. Thunder cracks the sky, loud and sharp, as the village quakes in fear. The river has awakened, responding to the choice Gabriel has made. It rises, surging toward the land, wild and uncontrollable. It calls, its roar like a beast breaking free from its chains. Villagers shout in panic, their voices trembling with dread. "It's the river, it's angry. We've angered the gods," one cries. The power of the river fills the air, thick with the promise of destruction. Zara, her body stiff and unyielding, begins to walk towards the river. Her eyes are glazed, lost in a trance. Her steps are slow but steady, drawn by an unseen force, as if the river itself is calling her. Gabriel's heart races. "Zara, no!" he cries, reaching out to her, but she does not respond. Her steps do not falter. Her body moves with a purpose she cannot control, closer and closer to the water's edge. His hands shake as he tries to pull her back, but she moves as though the river is her master. Gabriel stands frozen for a moment, his heart heavy with fear. The weight of his past presses down on him. His choices have led them here. His guilt, his fears, his decisions, all have brought him to this point. He has faced the river before, but this time it feels different. "I can't let it happen again," he whispers to himself, his voice full of determination. "I will save you, Zara." His breath comes in short, sharp bursts. He knows what must be done, but the fear of losing her fills him with doubt, with no more time to waste. Gabriel plunges into the churning waters. The river pulls at him, furious and relentless. Its strength is overwhelming, and it resists him at every turn, dragging at his limbs, trying to pull him under. Gabriel fights against it, every muscle in his body straining. The cold water bites at his skin, but he does not stop. "Let her go," he shouts, his voice filled with desperation. The river pulls harder, but he holds on, refusing to be swept away. Zara is within his reach, but the water won't let go. Zara struggles against the river's grip, her body weak, her strength fading with each passing moment. The current pulls her deeper, tugging her into the river's grasp. Her arms flail, trying to find something to hold on to, but the power of the river is too much. "Father, help me," she cries, her voice barely rising above the roar of the water. Her eyes are wide with fear, but she cannot break free. Gabriel's heart aches as he pushes against the water, reaching for her, but the river is too strong, and time is running out. Just as Gabriel is about to lose her, Celeste appears. Her figure stands on the water's edge, her eyes gleaming with an unsettling knowledge. She watches as Gabriel struggles, her face cold and unmoving. "I knew this day would come," she says, her voice calm, almost too calm. "The river was always meant to claim her, and you were never meant to stop it." Her words are like a chill wind, creeping into Gabriel's heart, twisting with the truth he cannot bear to face. Gabriel's world shatters with the revelation. His mind spins, unable to comprehend what he is hearing. "You brought her back to destroy us," he accuses, his voice trembling with shock and betrayal. "You were always part of this." The truth hits him like a blow, the pain cutting deep. He had trusted her, believed she was part of their salvation, but now all of it feels like a lie. Celeste stands before him, her calmness in stark contrast to the storm surrounding them. Gabriel feels the weight of her betrayal pressing down on him, but he cannot let it break him now. With the river's power closing in, Gabriel is faced with an impossible choice. He can no longer stand between Zara and the river. His fear and his love clash, and his heart screams for a way out, but there is none. He must act now. "I will not let you control my daughter anymore," Gabriel yells, his voice filled with rage and resolve. His hands grip Zara tightly, holding her against the river's pull. This is the moment that will decide everything. The river may be strong, and Celeste may have her power. But Gabriel's love for his daughter will not let him back down. He will fight, no matter the cost. The victory over the river comes at a high cost. Gabriel stands over Zara, his body trembling. With exhaustion, the battle with the river leaving deep marks on him, both physically and in his soul. His heart aches with the weight of the sacrifice, but as he gazes at Zara, something shifts. The river may have taken so much from him, but it has not taken her. "I've lost much, but I have you," he whispers, his voice strained. "I will never let you go again." His words are filled with both sorrow and a renewed sense of purpose. He knows the journey ahead will be long, but as long as Zara is with him, he has hope. The village, once held captive by the river's grip, is now left in turmoil. With the supernatural forces receding, there is a deep sense of confusion and fear. The villagers are unsure of what to make of the events that have unfolded. The river has given them nothing but sorrow, and now they must face the aftermath. They whisper among themselves, voices trembling. "The river has given us nothing but sorrow," one villager says, shaking their head. "How will we ever rebuild?" Their eyes are wide with fear, unsure if they can ever move beyond the river's shadow. The damage done is not easily undone, and the scars left on the village run deep. Zara, once caught in the river's power, now stands as a symbol. The villagers look at her with a mix of awe and fear, unsure of what she has become. She is tied to both the river's force and the redemption Gabriel has fought for. Zara's powers are now a part of her, and she carries them with both grace and burden. "She has saved us," one villager murmurs. "But what will she become? A healer or a curse?" Zara stands in silence, feeling the weight of their words. But Gabriel knows that her journey is just beginning. The river no longer controls her, but what will she choose to do with her newfound power? As the days pass, Gabriel begins to rebuild, his life with Zara by his side. The broken bond between them slowly mends as they face the past together. Gabriel realizes that the road to redemption lies in making amends for the mistakes he made, especially the loss of his first child. His heart aches with the realization of all he failed to do, but he knows that there is still time to heal. "Zara, I am sorry for everything I failed to do," he says, looking at her with a new sense of purpose. "But we will rebuild together." There is hope in his voice, a promise to make things right, no matter the cost. Celeste's role as the river's agent is finally revealed, and the village turns against her. Her power over the river, once feared, is broken. The villagers no longer see her as the wife of Gabriel, but as a betrayer of their trust. With harsh words and bitter anger, they cast her out. "You are no longer welcome here," the village elder declares, his voice firm and final. "The river's darkness has no place among us." Celeste leaves the village, her once powerful connection to the river severed, wandering into the wilderness. She is alone now, her past choices laid bare for all to see. Even with Celeste gone, her betrayal still lingers in Gabriel and Zara's hearts. Though they are free from the river's grip, The memory of her treachery hangs over them, a shadow that will not fade. Gabriel watches the horizon, his thoughts heavy. I thought I could trust her, he mutters, staring into the distance. But even now, her betrayal hangs over us. The pain of the past is not easily forgotten, and though the river no longer controls them, its ripples still reach into their lives. Yet, they stand together, stronger now, ready to face whatever comes next, knowing that the past is something they must carry, but no longer let define them. The river, once a powerful force of destruction, now lies calm before him. The storm has passed, and what was once raging with fury now rests quietly. Gabriel stands at the edge, his eyes locked on the water, feeling its stillness deep within himself. His body is weary, and his heart feels both heavy and light. The sea, weight of everything he has been through, presses down on him. The choices he made, the battles he fought, and the cost of them all are now clear. I thought it would destroy me, he says softly, his voice barely a whisper, but now I see the truth. He has faced the river, faced his past, and in this moment, he realizes that the journey was not about the river, but about what he learned from it. As he gazes at the water, Gabriel understands that the river's fury was never the true enemy. It was a reflection of his own guilt, his own fear. The choices he made, choices driven by regret and a desperate need for redemption, led him to this point. The river had raged because his own heart had been full of turmoil. The river, it was never the enemy. It was my fear, my guilt that made it so powerful, he admits, his voice tinged with regret. The storm had been his creation, a storm born from the depths of his own sorrow and inability to move forward. Now, standing before the still waters, he knows that the past cannot be undone, but the future can still be shaped by the lessons learned. The past has taken much from him, but it is not the end. Gabriel knows now that facing his mistakes is the true path to redemption. There is no way to erase what has happened, but he can take responsibility for it and rebuild. The journey ahead will not be easy, but he is ready. What has been lost is gone, Gabriel says, looking at Zara with new understanding. But I can rebuild. We can rebuild. His voice holds a quiet strength. With Zara by his side, he feels a sense of hope rising. Within him, the road ahead is uncertain, but they will walk it together, stronger for the trials they have endured. This journey has also taught him about justice. The river, the storm, the struggles they have faced, none of it was the result of fate alone. Gabriel understands that justice is not about avoiding mistakes, but about accepting the consequences of actions and moving forward. The future will be shaped not by the river's power, but by his own choices. It's not the river that decides. Our fate, it's us, Gabriel says with conviction. Our actions, our choices, they shape what happens next. He understands now that justice lies not in what is taken, but in how one rebuilds and moves forward after loss. Turning to Zara, Gabriel speaks with a softness in his voice, but also a firmness that reflects everything he has learned. The river has claimed its toll, but it can never take what's ours. The words are simple, but they carry the weight of all they have endured. The journey has not been easy, but together they are stronger than ever. Their bond is unbreakable, and no force, no storm can ever take that away from them.